maybe for them to exonerate themselves from any eventuality that was going to arise after learning of the BBC documentary. Maybe the KDF had to quickly concoct this. Listen, Wellington Kimutai Kipyegon was recently arrested for impersonation as a KDF officer and was even staying within the Embakasi barracks. Of course, it sounds next to impossible and quite as hard as teaching the honors as a preventive measure of curing diarrhea. But for Kimutai Kipyegon, I kid you not, he did it. And from where I sit, I strongly believe this can't just be a random guy from the streets, but likely he might be a man with some military background who knew what to exploit. Just have a look at his trigger discipline. Then go ahead and look at the decently positioned crown, of which I strongly believe at times it is usually a problem facing many police officers to position. Then go ahead and look at the positioning of the firearm. How shall the KDF or the government of the day convince the layman that a KDF imposter managed to intrude into a military barracks and stayed there for at least 3 years without getting noticed? And if this guy, Kimutai Kipyegon, did it, then we must ask ourselves, how safe are we as Kenyans, if at all our military barracks aren't safe? For me, I thought the KDF are usually divided into small battalions which have a team leader who ought to know each and every detail of his or her own group, not only in the camp, but right immediately after them graduating. Because honestly, the sequence of events on this Kimutai Kipyegon's matter leaves me with a lot of questions than answers. How would someone infiltrate a whole military base, get a gun, get some pair of uniforms, and have maybe his share or shift getting deducted? Because I believe, and I strongly believe, he must have been getting some salary. And the reason as to why I am of this ideology, it is due to the cognizant fact that no one, and absolutely no one, can impersonate without a pay, considering the cognizant fact of how risky it is for someone to impersonate inside a military barracks. Or could he be an army intelligent guy who had his own cover blown up? Could Kimutai Kipyegon be working as an undercover military for someone very powerful in ranks. And that drives me to Orengo's words that there comes a time when systems always eat their own people. Could this be Kipyegon Kimutai's time to be used as a sacrificial lamb by his masters? But anyway, this being Kenya, we also have to accept that everything is very much possible, because I strongly believe this is the only country in the world where we've had a man open his own fake police station. Again, this is the only country in the world where we've had a fake police by the name Joshua Waiganjo. Again, this is the only country in the world where we've had a fake lawyer by the name Brian Mwenda. Again, this is the only country in the world where we've had a fake gynecologist by the name Mugo Wairimu. And again, this is the only country in the world where we've had a fake Jesus by the name Eliud Wekesa, or also known as Yesu Watongareni. So with Kimutai Kipyegon's case, I kid you not, it's not an exception to what we've recently been witnessing, but the KDF imposter at the Embakasi barracks, I kid you not, it actually leaves many Kenyans with more questions than answers, because impersonating or in a KDF impersonation and going to an extent of staying in a barracks, not for a week or a day, but close to 3 years, I kid you not, it sounds next to impossible for millions of Kenyans. How I wish that the relevant authorities should blatantly come out and explain to Kenyans of what really transpired. And remember, this being a very sensitive matter, I wouldn't want to indulge deep because of how sensitive it is. But all this happened less than 2 weeks after the BBC Blood Parliament documentary. So you just have to connect the dots and decide on what you will want to understand. And as I come to the penultimate part of this episode, that has just been my opinion. If by any chance you do have a contrary opinion to mine, you can as well. Just feel free to drop them in the comment section and I'll give them a right of reply. And by any chance, if you have been watching my videos and you've not subscribed, you can as well. Just consider hitting on the subscribe button. Thank you and may God bless you.